Ultima. What do you want?
Your soul is tainted with worthless human will, yet your thirst for power remains undiminished. With every sip you take, you grow in strength, and soon you shall achieve perfection.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You will accept us, Mythos. It is inevitable. You were created for this purpose, and you shall serve it.
Never!
Fight it, Clive! Don't let him in!
Consciousness. We see now. Human will is so insubstantial it cannot exist in isolation. You mitigate its weakness by interweaving it with your consciousness. We believed we had merely to purge you of your will to claim our vessel. It appears we first have to sever every thread of the consciousness that supports it. No matter. The time to build a new world is not yet upon us. We will contemplate.
Thank you, Joshua.
One can no more command the power of ether by drowning in its flood than one can constrain the tides by standing in the sea. I had thought Hugo wiser than this, but it seems his head was full of rocks after all.
Titan was strong.
Your Majesty.
But Mythos is stronger. For 5 years, that man lived only for revenge. Clinging fast to a fiction, even as it swept him into the abyss. One cannot change one's nature through force of will alone. Only the Almighty can do that.
Hugo Kupka, the man who gave his life for a woman's head. A fool like all the rest.
That the death of a mother crystal should be so beautiful.
Some medicine, my lord? I have salves, potions, anything you need.
Stop bothering me, urchin, or you'll feel the back of my hand.
You must consider your health, my prince. If a show of force is needed to keep the Dalmex at bay, you may trust in your dragoons. I beg you to call on Bahamut only as a last resort. His strength comes at too great a cost.
The Empire agreed to an armistice with the Republic, and yet the Emperor still plots its ruin. For now, the Dalmex suspect nothing, and as long as I can hold their gaze, war need not be inevitable. But more than that, Bahamut is the champion of the Empire. When our people look to the heavens, the sight of him gives them hope. Forgive me, Terence. Would that you were my master. But alas.
I will always be your loyal servant.
Should the Council's brazen maneuvering prompt the Republic to tear up their own treaty and launch a new assault, our soldiers would advance to meet them, cutting across the Central Isles, but not in time to prevent their forces from breaching the southern defenses and storming Twinside. And so the capital would become a battlefield. Thousands of innocents would die. I cannot allow that to happen.
There is one small mercy, at least. You will not be forced to do battle with Titan.
Would that I could avoid doing battle at all.
1,000 pardons, Your Highness.
What is it?
Olivier has been made Emperor. What is the meaning of this? My father's orders. What were they? Quickly!
Yes, Your Highness. His Radiance requests that Your Highness maintain position here and...
Ah! Terence.
Yes, my prince.
I must go to the palace.
I'll ready your steed.
What is it now?
Forgive the intrusion, Your Highness.
I know you.
At ease.
We stand in the presence of the Phoenix. You wouldn't want to get your fingers burned.
I hope I'm not interrupting.
Not at all. Though I admit, I did not expect such a distinguished guest.
How many years has it been since the Remembrance ceremony? 20?
I thought you long dead. Do I address a ghost?
Many have told me that I look like one. But no. I'm alive. Just. Prince Dion of the House Lesage, I have a tale to tell you.
Man, you better not fade to black and come. I want to hear this tale. Oh, god damn it. That's really annoying. Okay. Things are definitely hotting up now. Now that Kupka and Titan's out the way, the real big players in this story are going to be Dion, Barnabas / Odin, and of course Joshua and Ultima. So it's starting to narrow down. We're starting to really focus on the biggest players. But we'll probably detour a bit now with some side quests. We'll see. Out of the shadow.
I'd better give Otto the good news.
Man, that battle against Titan was one of the wildest things I've ever played in my whole life. Like, that was absolutely ridiculous. For my own personal taste, I think they overdid it a bit too much. But Titan is such a stupidly, like, even compared to all of the other icons and summons, Titan's always just been, especially in the more modern games, so ridiculously big and huge and powerful. It's like it doesn't even make sense that you can really fight it sometimes. And so they really had to pull off an incredible spectacle there to really sell the fight between the two of them. I think they did an amazing job with it. It was like nothing I've ever played in Final Fantasy before, not by a long shot. And so it felt like this really extended, epic FMV, like Attack on Titan, like big anime battle, Final Fantasy FMV, all of those things mixed into one, and you got to be a part of it too. So it was pretty amazing. I mean, for the style of this game, when the action gets going and the set piece and stuff, I think it fits in really nicely. Now, it was a bit too much. I felt like it had a phase or two too many. If the battle was maybe like 30% shorter, I think it would have been fine. Like that bit inside where they're kind of falling through and stuff, I felt like that was a bit too much. But overall, it was definitely very impressive. Great eye candy. I think one of the reasons it being too long doesn't work as well for me is that I get really hype. I mean, you can obviously hear that I'm getting hype and excited. And then like a phase happens and it grows and it grows and it grows and you think it's reached like the peak. And something big happens and the life bar finishes. And you're just like, you feel that exhilaration like, yes, like, you know, Titan's defeated. And then something else starts and then something else starts. And I just can't keep bringing myself up to the same energy level every time. And so it's a very tough balance with that. And I think for me, it kind of overcooked it a little bit. But yeah, in general, it's definitely very cool and suited this particular game and its style well. So there you go. But yeah, as I say, now we just have the major players left. It seems like, again, it's been like over 5 years now. Joshua must have been looking for a way to speak to Dion this entire time. And I need to hear that tale. I got annoyed, man. I wanted to know it all, but they wouldn't give it to me. So we'll have to put more pieces together later. And obviously Ultima's still trying to do its thing behind the scenes. And so with that stuff, it's kind of still very, it does harken back to like the older Final Fantasies and the crystals. And this kind of ambiguous, it's less ambiguous than it was in some of the oldest games. And the fact that they have like this manifestation of Ultima, they're speaking to Clive in his mind or whatever is going on, it does help put things into a bit more perspective. It doesn't feel like just this random godly cloud or whatever that's like speaking to you or some shit. So I think it's pretty good. I guess that aspect is a little bit reminiscent of Final Fantasy XII and the Ikuria as well, maybe. I don't remember the story side of that game too well, if I'm being honest, but I do get some feeling of that, like the way they're a whole different, obviously, entity to humans. And that kind of thing, so maybe it's a bit more akin to that, but I don't remember the story well enough to say that with any confidence.
How may I help you today, Clive?
When you've literally played from Final Fantasy...
Is everything we've received and everything promised?
3 through to 16 at this stage, obviously some of their stories and some of the aspects of it are going to blur, and a lot of them I've only played once, to be fair.
Come again, I may have more for you.
Speaking of more, do we have more hunts? How many more hunts do we have? Oh, wow. Okay. C. Interesting. Oh! Wow. Okay. Location unknown. That's interesting. Alright. I think it is a good time for a detour, but let's just sort of conclude what happened there and let these guys know. Jill is back too, and then we'll go from there. Maybe Jill can join us again, I don't know.
Clive, you're back.
I am. And with glad tidings for once. Hugo Kupka is no more.
Well, I'll be. All of our comrades who lost their lives back at Sid's place be smiling down at you right now.
We had a stolus from Lubor saying Drake's fang had fallen. I expect that was your doing as well, was it?
It's a long story.
One for the history books, I'll bet.
Welcome home, Clive.
It's good to be back. You look better.
I feel it. Which means I'm coming on your next little adventure. You're not leaving me behind again.
Yes, milady.
Otto, any word on the royalist movement since I've been away?
Shouldn't you be putting your feet up? If you really want to know, go and have a word with Vivian.
Thank you. I will.
Right. Yeah, as expected, Jill is back, which is great. Good to see that she's doing better.
It's good to have you back. I was worried.
Not bad for a boy from the Imperial Barracks, eh?
Yeah, so story-wise, I think it's kind of split.
Troops amassing at every border.
It's split into two at this stage almost, where it's like
It was the same after Drake's breath.
on the one hand you've got Barnabas, Odin, and the royalist crew, who they seem to know what's going on. Like the way that they're referring to Clive as mythos and all of that kind of business, they seem a bit more attuned to that side of things. And obviously, I assume if they're calling it mythos, they must know what Ultima is and what the goal is for Ultima and that kind of thing. So they're more on that side. And then you've obviously got like the Holy Empire with Annabelle and like their kind of very classic Game of Thrones-y family struggle almost, where she's trying to usurp Dion and eventually the Emperor, and obviously she's succeeded. She's got her son to be the next Emperor, and they're trying to remove Dion from the equation and stuff. But like it seems like they're completely unaware of this whole greater narrative about the Mother Crystals and mythos and Ultima and all that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to see how those things are going to come together, and maybe I guess Joshua is like the bridging point for that, and he's going to explain to Dion this whole story, and maybe that's how we're going to fuse together everything, because it seems like they're just completely unaware. So I don't know. Let's keep talking until we have like the next destination, and then we'll go from there.
Ah, the conquering hero returns. And with hardly a scratch on him.
I may have picked up one or two.
Well, the fact that you came straight to me instead of visiting our resident physiker suggests that you picked up something more important. A scent. The scent of Waludas.
The very same. But whatever plans Kupka was hatching with the royalists, he took them to his grave. As did his men. Slaughtered by the orcs who'd taken over the Fang. Orcs, Vivian. I've never seen such creatures in Storm before. The Waludas must have ferried them over from Ash, but why? Why work to rescue Kupka only to invade his home, the mother crystal of an allied nation, and let both fall? It makes no sense.
Do you know the tale of the blind men and the Adamantus? One can often be led astray by focusing too closely on individual details. One must instead see the bigger picture. And what bigger picture is there than my map?
Yes, please. Enlighten us.
The Kingdom of Waloed claims dominion over all of Ash. It is a nation forged by the bloody conquest of Barnabas Tharm, the dominant of Odin. The Canvarian War of Independence in 849. The Battle of the Twin Realms in 865. The Battle of Belinus Tor in 873. Wheresoever his armies fought, Odin was found where the fighting was fiercest. But of late, the warrior king appears to have laid his sword to rest. Battle rages for control of the crystalline dominion. Yet Tharm sends not a single ship in support of his Dhalmekian allies. Meanwhile, the Blight ravages great swathes of ash. Yet warlike Waloed shows not the faintest interest in laying claim to untouched lands. So why go to the trouble of sending an army of orcs into the heart of Drake's Fang, only to make no attempt to claim the Mother Crystal for Waloed? It can hardly be for lack of men. Tharm's armies rival any in the Twins. No. We have not seen the last of the Waloed standard. Odin will ride again. It is but a question of when. And on that day, who will be trampled underfoot? In summary, I know not to what end the royalist betrayed Kupka. I know only that it is part of some broader scheme. A scheme tied to the ambitions of one man.
King Barnabas.
But there is no need to wallow in confusion. If one is to cure a sickness, one must first identify the symptoms. And your Lord Uncle has volunteered to do just that by keeping an eye on the royalists' movements.
He's really throwing himself into this.
Indeed he is. Which means all that remains for us to do is await his reports. Well, not quite all in your case. The people of the Hideaway must hear the news. Justice has been done. Hugo Kupka is dead. The wounds he left that night are still raw, especially for those who lived with Sid the longest. Tell them that those wounds might finally begin to heal. Consider it the price of today's instruction.
I've never known you to be sentimental.
What can I say? I am only human. And we are, all of us, sentimental animals at heart.
I suppose we are. Very well. I'll go and spread the word.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a confusing time, and I'm struggling to understand what Barnabas actually wants in this story. Because, I don't know, let's have a look at the map here and try and make some more sense of this. So, these guys, if they're aware of, like, mythos and all of that kind of business, then they should... There can only really be two things. Either they want the Mother Crystals to survive, and they want to gain further control of the Mother Crystals, or they also realize that the Mother Crystal should be destroyed. So clearly they have their own Mother Crystal and they haven't destroyed it, so I don't think they want the Mother Crystals to be destroyed. That's pretty clear. But then it's like the other one, they haven't tried to claim the Mother Crystal, and Barnabas just kind of watched as the Mother Crystal disintegrated, and he didn't really do anything to defend it or to do anything else like that. So it's like, well, what do they want? Do they want the crystals destroyed or not? And so at this stage, I don't really know. And so it's hard for me to kind of gauge what Barnabas actually wants. And so that's going to be a bit of an enigma, because like they are aware of things that other leaders don't seem to really be aware of in the story. And yet what they're actually doing about it seems a bit confusing. So yeah, we are going to need some of those reports, and we're just going to have to keep going and see what we get. Now, there's no side quest in here, interestingly, but maybe some will pop up once I do these little conversations. So let's start with Blackthorn.
Blackthorn, do you have a moment?
What is it? I'm busy.
I wanted to tell you that Hugo Kupka is dead.
I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to hear those words. This is it then. A new beginning under a new Sid.
I'll try to live up to the name.
Vengeance is sweet. What do you want?
Well, someone looks pleased with himself. It's true what I'm hearing, then.
Nothing escapes you, Lady Karen. It's true. Kupka is dead.
No more looking over our shoulders, then. Good. I'm starting to get a crick in my neck. Don't let it go to your head, though.
And of course, my man Mage.
Ah, Clive. Have you come seeking the gift of knowledge?
No. To share mine, actually. Hugo Kupka is dead.
Oh my. Can it really be true?
Look, he's crying. He is. The big baby.
And with good reason, children. These are tears of joy. We must offer up a prayer to your parents that the heavens might weep with us. There shall be no lessons today, only thanksgiving and merrymaking. Go, put away your things.
All right. Brilliant.
Even Mage get into the spirit of things.
Finally, a new dawn has broken.
It has.
Thank you, Clive. I cannot wait to share the good news.
Hippocrates. After Kupka fell, Ultima came to me. I need to know what he is. Have you learned anything?
Alas, no. And not for want of trying. I have scoured nigh every historical tome in our collection and found nothing. Not even the sort of conspicuous absence that might suggest a concealment of fact. One is almost tempted to conclude that such a creature never existed.
But I saw him. With my own eyes.
I don't doubt that you did. Alas, it seems you are the only one who has. To others, he reveals naught. We see only that which he leaves in his wake, like some terrible force of nature beyond the ken of mortal man.
A bringer of death.
Whether the Ultima you met with was the being itself, or merely another projection of its power, I know not. But until I do, my investigations shall continue.
Thank you. It means a lot.
I guess the only other person we know...
Let's see if Otto has anything else for me.
The only person we know who's seen Ultima is Joshua.
My knowledge is yours.
And why does he refuse to just not come to his brother? Why? I guess he's too scared of what Ultima might do if he's close to his brother, but...
I have said it many times.
Hugo Kupka was a murderer, but he was also a thief. A thief who robbed us of our happiness, of our hope. And though I know it is wrong to revel in the death of another, we can take solace in the fact he will never steal anything from us ever again.
His story is ended.
Thank you, Clive.
Were you aware
that in many cities bearers are forbidden from having children? 'Tis believed that the ether used to bring a child into the world hastens the crystal's curse, lessening the mother's productivity. Such is the world we live in. Fortunately, Tat and Crow's parents were able to escape that world, if only for a few brief summers.
But what of the twins themselves?
Born in the Hideaway, one touched by magic, the other spared its burden. Their minds are blissfully untainted by the poisonous rhetoric of priests and politicians. They will grow up knowing there is no difference between man and bearer, and they will pass that truth on to their own children, and they to theirs, until the world we live in now is but a footnote in the annals of history.
Yes, change will come.
And through a magic which requires no crystal to conjure, that will endure long after the last mother crystal has fallen. So,
I have compiled some new entries, if you would like to see them.
Let's fire this up.